Why don't we jump right into our main topic for the day? Prominent gaming creators have stoked community backlash against YouTube over recent changes to its ad-friendly content guidelines, which has caused many of said creators' videos to be age-restricted and or demonetized. Hence the title of the video and, I guess live benchmark of YouTube's content filtering, because I went out of my way to attempt to break their new filters, or rather break the rules within the first 8 seconds of the video. The live stream went live almost instantly on YouTube, which I'm not used to. Normally there's about a 5 to 15 second delay. I might have missed the window, but I took my best shot at it. Now, starting in October of 2020, the guidelines stated that frequent use of strong profanity could result in limited or no ads. But in April 2021, the guidelines changed to allow creators to use moderate profanity like shit and bitch within the first 30 seconds of a video. In November 2022, YouTube issued a major update, though, to these guidelines. Not only could profanity be used within the first 7 seconds, not only could profanity used within the first 7 seconds lead to limited ads, but all profanity was now treated equally, except for hell and damn, which apparently are no longer being treated as profanity anymore. What the hell? Like, damn. Damn's not even a swear word anymore. We're all going to hell. Profanity used after the first 8 seconds, though, was apparently fine as long as it was not excessive. The update also specifies that standard gameplay, where gory injuries are present within the first 8 seconds, would lead to limited ads. On December 25th, Daniel Condren of RT Game asked YouTube for help after one of his videos was set to limited ads, and in addition to denying his appeal, YouTube subsequently flagged over a dozen more of his past videos. Condren believes that they were flagged because he escalated the issue. Oh, you know what? It looks like Riley and I are kind of the same mind here. Riley says, yeah, it does look like that, but as all-powerful as the algorithm is, it is actually not scanning every YouTube video all the time. So when attention is brought to offending content, humans or more likely bots, probably checks related content. ProZD has apparently tested the policy already, waiting 18 seconds before swearing, and the video still got demonetized. Hey, Dan, can we just throw up our sponsors down here to just thank them for being part of making sure that we can run this demonetization experiment? Do you want to just throw them up on the bottom for me, just one after the other? Hey, look at that. We got Notion today. We got FreshBooks. We got Squarespace. Those are some damn good sponsors. Hell yeah. This morning, YouTube gave a statement to The Verge, and we've actually got the statement up here, which I have not had the pleasure of reading yet because I was busy getting dressed up for the show. In recent weeks, we've heard from many creators regarding this update. YouTube spokesperson Michael Asselman. Oh, so he's an Asselman. So I thought maybe more of a boobman, but an Asselman. Okay, good. Told The Verge. That feedback is important to us, and we are in the process of making some adjustments to this policy to address their concerns. We will follow up shortly with our creator community as soon as we have more to share. Well, that's not really a statement, is it? No, it's not. He agrees. Thank you for that. We've got a few discussion questions here. First of all, what responsibility does YouTube have to inform creators of changes to its guidelines, both current or upcoming? I think, honestly speaking, that's the biggest problem here from my point of view. It's not that the rules exist, right? Like, it's been pretty common sense for us for a long time that you got to understand, ad-safe guidelines don't come from YouTube. They come from advertiser tolerance towards a particular thing. So we all have our own internal, moral and taboo compasses, right? Like for some people, full frontal nudity is like whatever. Like my understanding as a North American, where that's like, is that in Europe, you can like have a billboard on the side of fucking road, okay? Okay, look, we're benchmarking the thing, okay? You can have a billboard on the road with like full frontal nudity on it, and it's like, yeah, what? You know, like Holland or whatever. Over here, I mean, you show a little bit of crack, and that's like not the kind you smoke, like the kind out the back of your butt or the front of your chest, right? Like, whoa, so edgy, right? I mean, that was more true 20 years ago, but even today, compared to other regions of the world, it's different, right? So everyone has kind of like their own ideas, whether it's nudity or violence or profanity for what can be considered tolerable. By the way, for those of you watching who do not like a profanity-riddled WAN show, we'll be back to normal next week. Feel free to let your kids tune in. We will not have the video marked. We are trying to get demonetized. That's how you'll be able to know the difference. Riley apparently is adding notes in real time here. Note, excessive profanity can. Okay, he's not a good at typing keyboard guy. Excessive profanity can lead to demonetization, so don't overdo it, I think is what he's trying to say. Anyway, my issue is not that YouTube has rules. Rules exist for a reason, and it's because brands simply don't like their brand next to content that they feel could reflect poorly on them. Whether that's rational, like whether that has any data backing to it or not, sometimes people make emotional purchases, be it a gorgeous tech-themed water bottle, or be it a marketing campaign, okay? And if they see something that they don't like, they could experience buyer's remorse and not work with that platform again. So I get it. The issue from my point of view, and I think Luke agrees, is that this is just happening. It's just happening in the night, and people aren't being informed, and clearly it wasn't common sense to some of the people who use a lot of profanity and expect advertisements to show up on their videos just fine. And not only was it, not common sense or whatever, but the community has ultimately figured out where the line was. People were figuring out how to stay within it, and then the line moved. That is not okay. I mean, yeah, I think this is Luke's cursor now because it typed a lot faster. Luke says Luke figures, it's like when Elon randomly started banning everyone that was doxing people on Twitter, when what really happened was he changed the definition of doxing. So if YouTube is banning people, or not banning, but demonetizing people for using too much profanity, when even just the words too much or excessive are fucking meaningless, right? How are people supposed to deal with that? And you gotta understand, right? YouTube is not some rinky-dink little platform that people upload to for fun anymore. This is people's livelihoods that are at stake, unless they have really great sponsors. Like, can you get those sponsors across the bottom for me again? Just wanna shout out our sponsors who hopefully, hey, thanks Notion, are comfortable being next to this kind of, thanks FreshBooks, unsavory, language, right? Squarespace too. Shout out Squarespace. If they haven't ditched me yet, they're not going to ditch me now. Now, our second discussion question here is, what responsibility do creators have to be aware of potential changes like this and play it safe? Cough, cough, LMG. And that's true. I mean, Luke has not been in favor at times of our family-friendly approach to, really a lot of things. Like, we get edgy sometimes. I think that the how to hide your pornography video was among the edgiest things that we've ever done. But we mostly get edgy in like kind of a silly toilet humor, innuendo kind of way. We don't go straight for really, really vulgar language or, really graphic language or imagery. And a big part of that has been out of staying advertiser friendly. It was a business decision. It was not because I have any particular aversion to using cuss words. As for what responsibility creators have, that's tough, right? Because creators are supposed to be diverse. right? That's one of the benefits of the platform. And there's a certain, I don't think that for our type of content and for our message, there's any particular need to swear. And personally, I consider a bleeped fuck to be funnier than a not bleeped fuck. I think that I find it to be comedically superior, okay? So that's a huge part of the reason that we do things the way that we do. But also because we want to remain advertiser friendly. However, I think that there are creators whose personalities or whose message could be aided by speaking in a way that is true to themselves, and that might involve some cussing. And so for me to say, or for me to pass some kind of judgment, right, on the responsibility that creators have to be aware of potential changes and play it safe, I think it's one of those things where my opinion's irrelevant, and so is his. Right? Like we're coming at this from a space, from a personality that doesn't need to communicate in that way, whereas some people do. And I want YouTube to be a place where all kinds of creation can thrive. That is, as long as you're not spreading disinformation, spreading hate, engaging in illegal activities. If you're recruiting for ISIS or some shit, then as far as I'm concerned, you can get the fuck off the platform, right? But man, a couple F-bombs, I don't know, it's tough. I think that if advertisers haven't already gotten used to the fact that YouTube is like kind of a zoo. There's a little bit of everything, Sometimes it's the kind of zoo where, they had more than two of that kind of animal, you know what I'm saying? They got a lot going on. It's a cluster, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. Our next discussion question that Luke and I will be discussing is what would need to happen to enable a YouTube-level platform that doesn't rely on potentially prudish advertisers for revenue? Haha, wait, that's Floatplane. Except it isn't, right? Because we know it's not a sustainable model, right? Like, once you've got a certain amount of momentum, like LMG, which I shouldn't call it that, Linus Media Group has over 30,000 paying subscribers on Floatplane that are anywhere between, we have like OG grandfathered in members at a $3 US a month tier. That is no longer available, hasn't been for years. In fact, I think the percentage of $3 tier users is really dwindling these days. We have a $5 tier, and then we have a $10 tier that gets you 4K, which is higher bitrate than YouTube's 4K. And most importantly, not necessarily image quality, but our audio is uncompressed, which is one of the big reasons that someone like DankPods is on Floatplane for his garbage time streams. It's super cool because he drums, right? And YouTube's audio compression, Twitch for that matter, makes it so that it doesn't have the dynamism that Floatplane streaming can get him, right? And so it's great for people like us who have that kind of critical mass that, you guys do the math, right? 30,000 people paying anywhere from realistically $5 to $10 a month is not an insignificant amount of revenue. It justifies a development team. It justifies us investing in a group of people that makes exclusive content just for that platform, right? Or for someone like DankPods, right? Where he's got a specific use case for it and a dedicated audience that is really into that kind of content that will pay for it monthly. But I've had a lot of people point out, like, hey, Linus, I couldn't help noticing I have to pay for every creator. That adds up too fast. I can't afford it. I get it. 100%. You are right. A platform like Vessel, where you can pay one time and get all you can eat access to every creator on the platform, that's way better. But you aren't YouTube, right? So let's say you have 100,000 users or something like that, okay? Even a pretty good number of users. You got 100,000 users, okay? They're paying $5 a month. That's $500,000 a month. That's a ton of money. For an all-you-can-eat platform, okay, wait a second, hold on. How many creators do I have on here? If I've even got 50 creators, right? All of a sudden, now we're talking 500,000. Oh boy. divided by 5. Okay, that's 20 grand a month. That's a ton of money. Man, yeah. How can we get 100,000 subscribers on Floatplane? Man, that'd be okay. Anyway, the point is, you would have more than 50 creators. If we built a platform that was like an all-you-can-eat, that was like a smorgasbord model, what would happen is the share for those individual creators. If we had 50 that were the size of LTT, for example, the share of that revenue for each of those creators that's left by the time you deal with payment processing fees, which are significant. Man, we haven't talked about the exact numbers in a long time, so you're going to have to just kind of let me know. If I recall correctly, it was 15% flat per transaction plus a percentage, give or take. Is it 25 flat? I don't know. The point is, it is a significant amount of money when you're looking at a $5 transaction. The lower the transaction, the bigger the proportion it is because you have to deal with that flat fee no matter what. So essentially, you're just enriching credit card companies, which the world definitely needs more of, obviously. So as soon as you start to divide it between more and more creators, they lose their incentive to actually even bother to upload on the platform because, you know what, I'm going to get my I'm MKBHD, right? What, I'm going to get my $60 check in the mail or even my $600 check in the mail. You know, I don't want to, obviously I don't know exactly what his numbers are, but I work in the same vertical. I have some idea. I can tell you that a $600 check to Marquez is pretty much a rounding error, right? And with his costs, you guys got to understand, I'm not saying that because he's like so out of touch and just has so much money. I'm just saying that he's running a business over there. He's got a dozen plus employees, nice space, good equipment. He's trying to do a great job of what he's doing. Okay, it costs money to do that. And that amount of money ain't going to make a huge difference. So, okay. Hey, AJ's posted in the Floatplane chat. I was apparently way off. It is actually 30 cents per transaction plus a percentage. So on those $3 transactions in the early days, we were giving up 10% right off the bat to a flat transaction fee. Now, I haven't been looking at the chat lately, but I'm sure some people are asking about Nebula. Nebula has a very, very different model where essentially they have a partnership with CuriosityStream that makes it so that you are basically getting Nebula for free if you sign up for CuriosityStream, who sponsors a lot of Nebula creators, effectively paying creators to promote getting their Nebula subscription for free. So it's like, is anybody actually paying for Nebula? Probably. But are more people likely paying for CuriosityStream and getting Nebula for free? Probably. So it's a really interesting model over there. And then the creators on Nebula are stakeholders in Nebula. And my understanding is that that is dependent on like the size of the creator and overall contribution to the momentum of the platform. And so what that means is that even if your check from Nebula is $4 a month or whatever, because whatever, depends how many people are watching, I guess. They don't have any external viewership stats or anything like that, which usually means that it's not heavily used. So it doesn't matter, though, if you get a $60 check, because essentially you're getting paid to promote it by one of the associated media companies. And then you are maybe, in the event of an exit, in the event that Nebula gets sold, you are getting some cut of that sales check. So it's a very, very different model. It's maybe someday something will happen. And also there's this very convenient synergy here with CuriosityStream that I'm sure makes sense for CuriosityStream on some level. Very, very different dynamic from what Floatplane is, which is the money from the subscribers you can drive today, right now, and is sustainable. We don't need any external backing, nothing like that. We are profitable now. It's amazing how many people I still see talking about the epic failure that was Floatplane. Guys, the numbers are right on the site. They're right on the site. Floatplane is doing, through LTT alone, at least, what is it? Calculator, okay? So 5 times 30,000, okay? Here we go. 5 times 30,000 times 12. Floatplane is doing at least $1.8 million US a year in revenue, and that's just on LTT. We don't have a ton of creators on the platform. I admit, the model doesn't make a ton of sense for everyone, but what it is it is sustainable. And Luke and I think, have been proven maybe not right, but not wrong multiple times since Floatplane's inception. I mean, look at all the controversy there was around Patreon and Vimeo, when Patreon was effectively having people just put up unlisted videos on YouTube for the longest time. And then there was the integration with Vimeo, where Patreon creators were able to use Vimeo to host their videos. And then all of a sudden, Vimeo kind of went, bandwidth and storage are expensive. If you guys don't start paying for pro-tier Vimeo hosting, all your videos are going to go away. See you later. And then now I think Patreon is self-hosting video, but I haven't actually looked at the quality of the service since then, so I can't really speak to if it's any good or anything like that. Yeah, Level 1 Text has another 800 followers. I know Garbage Time streams like hundreds. I know that Forgotten Weapons has hundreds, if not... Forgotten Weapons does not disclose how many subscribers are on Floatplane. Forgotten Weapons, good guy and good channel, doing good. Why don't I just say that? The good news is I actually didn't know if that number was accurate, so you can assume it was wrong.